So hello everyone, welcome to our new wrap-up format because our studio has been damaged by a Russian rocket. Today, Anna from Ukraine in our studio, just after Henry King's wrap-up series in new studio in Dovzhenko, and welcome Anna to our virtual studio.
Happy to be with you and happy that despite all these troubles caused by Russian rockets, we are able to speak the truth.
Yes, it is very important. New technologies, digital technologies allow us to do that. And speaking of that, digital influencers, leaders of public opinion on YouTube, you are one of them, together with our other friends like Artur Rehi, Jake Bro, Jonathan Fink, everyone else. How do you react to what is happening right now in the information field with our partners from the United States, which have changed their rhetoric 180 degrees, which is observable right now? What do you feel? How do you react to that?
I personally believe that people working in this digital sphere on YouTube or on other social media platforms were more prepared to feel these changes because we have to follow news very carefully and comments very carefully. And that is why it did not turn out a surprise. And I know that many of us were actually speaking about this potential shift, but people chose not to believe. And honestly, I feel like many people in the United States who are my viewers are very surprised and very disappointed because it's not normal to change the attitude to war in Ukraine like 180 degrees. It's not even like 40 degrees, 90 degrees. It's not about the end of support because, let's say, US administration wants to focus on internal problems. All of that might be understandable. But when there are comments blaming Ukraine for this war or stating that President Zelensky is a dictator or that Ukrainians should not fight in this war when we actually fight for our motherland, protecting our schools, hospitals, and lives. It was really difficult, especially at the very beginning. And I remember feeling myself that bad as it was maybe in February 2022. It's a mixture of betrayal, despair, anger. And what personally made me very emotional is one of our, or maybe even a few of our colleagues, and were sharing, United 24 were also sharing photos of people buried in sand in Bucha who resemble me, my students. Those manicured fingers of a woman shot also during the occupation of Kyiv region, people saving dogs in Kherson region after Kakhovka Dam, um, cut heads of our prisoners of war. And this is what cannot be forgiven and what cannot be legitimized when Putin is out of this diplomatic and political isolation. So this is what we will never accept. And I think it's super important to remain active and actually after this minutes, moments of disgust, despair, I returned back to doing our job. And actually, I feel the need to support many people in Europe and many people in the United States who are also frustrated and frightened.
You know, what I've been feeling is great exhaustion, and I've seen from your videos, your posts, that you were exhausted too. You could just feel that. And I believe that many, not only ordinary people in the United States, but also high-ranking politicians, uh, are shocked with the rhetorics that are coming from the administration right now. And probably we are coming to some kind of a grand final of the Russian full-scale aggression against Ukraine at this stage, at this moment. At least it seems to me that we are coming to some kind of possible agreement that will be imposed on Europe, imposed on Ukraine, rather than discussed with Ukraine. Is that the same feeling that you have?
Well, I believe in Ukrainian people. I believe in European people. I believe in American people that we will not let this happen. Of course, negotiations, trying to find the agreement suitable for normal parties of this war, it's a normal process, and many things can change. And I actually believe that people in Ukraine, in Europe, and in the United States can change a lot. It is very wrong to obey in advance, and it is very wrong to accept unacceptable things. Um, Once again, I'm sure that Ukrainian government and Ukrainian people are prepared to discuss, let's say, an agreement about rare earth minerals. We can discuss the presence of foreign troops close to the front line. But there are some things that we cannot discuss, and that is that Russia must be prosecuted for its war crimes, and that Putin cannot, I don't know, return to G7, that Russia started this unprovoked war. And of course, uh, President Zelensky is definitely not a dictator. We here in Ukraine often joke that we can criticize our politicians. We know things we don't like about them, but in general, he's a good guy. He is a person that stands together with his country against a dictator, Putin, that did not have elections for 25 years. And this is very unjust to talk about that. So, personally, I do not think that we can agree on everything imposed on us. Because we have our knowledge and we have skills, and we understand that this will be just a tactical pause for Putin before he keeps attacking Ukraine and more countries of the former Soviet Union, and maybe even like this Eastern Bloc, because that is the plan. What I am worried about, that he already has yes from the new US government.
I've been watching last night the movie Darkest Hour. I've been watching
Mhm.
it at night because almost 60 Shahed drones were headed towards Kiev, while Kit
Mhm.
Kellogg and Zelensky were discussing the minerals deal. And yeah, for the whole night, drones flew over Kiev, air defense was working. I've been watching movies because you cannot sleep of
Yeah,
that
what
kind of movie.
do you do?
Yeah, and the draft memorandum that was being tried to impose on Churchill in 1940 is almost a word to word the rhetoric of a current possible agreement. Yes, stop the suffering of the people, stop bloodshed. You don't need to
Mhm.
continue the war. Yeah, we can make peace
The
with
land of
everyone.
peace. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So Mr. Chamberlain in the movie, Mr. Chamberlain was trying to impose a peace deal on Churchill and pacify Hitler, pacify the aggressor, and it is very reminiscent of what is happening right now. And yeah, yeah, it is very familiar to 2022 when people are more united internally than when the external threat, the political external threat, is right now looming with this. And
Mhm.
yeah, what can I say else? What can I say
I
else?
will agree with you. I remember watching one of popular Ukrainian social media influencers who actually said, well, Trump is saying some really bad things, but I don't mind because I see the results. They unite us so well, and they actually um, I think that all of this disinformation coming from Elon Musk, all of these things, they actually do not work with Ukrainian society. They do just the country. So, to some extent, by denying the heroism of Ukrainian people, our resilience and evil of Russia, they make us more determined to fight against that. And I'm once again happy that many people in the European Union are awakening, and they clearly see that. When we were saying it is not just about Ukraine, we were not exaggerating, we were not trying to frighten them, motivate them, we were actually speaking the truth. So hopefully there will be some solutions, and I'm sure that we will not agree on Russia's ultimatums now when we did not accept them earlier and after the skills and achievements we've made during these 3 years of resilience.
You know, even in the Kremlin, RIA Novosti has posted that they are skeptical about the new administration in the United States. They don't believe that it can be true. That's a publication I've seen on Russian propaganda media. And probably this is the plan to make Europeans wake up, to unite Ukrainians again for the maybe for the final stand to negotiate something for the better. And yeah, I right now remember the negotiations on North and South Korea, on Finland. Somebody was saying that Finlandization of Ukraine is possible, but in fact we got the Ukrainization of Finland when it joined NATO in 2023. Um, I'm feeling something is gonna happen right now, and because people in Europe are united right now, the politicians start to wake up after almost 3 years of yeah, we support you, you fight for our ideals, for our values, but we will just send some help to you, some aid, and we'll do nothing for ourselves. Right now, they are understanding they are on their own in Europe because the United States can really pull troops out of the Baltics, out of Romania, and it will be a great, great danger because the Russian army is building up right now. As the president Zelensky said, they are going to move 150K army into Belarus this summer, which can go to Lithuania, for example.
We have to be realistic that right now, armies that have real experience and skills of this 21st century war, it is Ukrainian army, Russian army, and since recently, North Korean army. And Putin invested a lot in the military economy and it's working. He cannot stop it abruptly, so he will continue developing his army, and obviously not without a reason. So it is some kind of psychological escapism if people keep thinking that he's just going to have a big army, big angry army, but he will not do anything. And personally, I see that there are a lot of people who believe that Donald Trump is just a genius negotiator and this is his aggressive boss politics, and then he will switch into doing some good things for Ukraine after mobilizing European Union. Um, I would love to believe it's possible. Maybe it is. Moreover, there are some really good comments after the visit of General Kit Kellogg, and I personally love it that he is a military man, not a businessman. So, apart from rare earth minerals, he will speak about the security of the world, perhaps, which is important. But I'm also skeptical, taking into account recent comments about, like he's too aggressive on Zelensky, he undermines the heroism of Ukrainian people, and Elon Musk asking, what are they fighting for? Motherland. And I do believe there is another scenario, a dark one, doomsday scenario, where things begin to change negatively in the United States. And people have to be prepared for that when they abandon Europe as an ally, no matter what they do to Ukraine. I mean, it is not Ukraine that decides. Maybe it's already planned. I don't know, taking out NATO troops, giving Russia its a possibility to take control over Eastern Europe and trying to divide Western Europe. That's what they want to do in Germany. They try to influence election in Romania. That is not okay. And I was surprised to read that right now in the world, the number of uh, authoritarian countries is larger than the number of democracies. So I think at this moment in history, it is no more about Ukraine, West, Europe, I don't know, Australia. It's about those who want to preserve democracy for their societies as imperfect, but still the best form of government, and those who will collapse in and turn into authoritarian regimes.
Yeah, and in fact, we are surrounded by people who tend to be more authoritarian, like Lukashenko, dictator Putin, and everyone else. But I have some kind of an inner feeling that after the darkest hour, there's always a dawn. And in 1940, people were despaired. Imagine people in France, their land was occupied by Germans. But in the end, everything turned out to be as it is. There was the second front opening, and France was deoccupied. Yes, after several years of occupation, after several years of darkness, but the evil of Nazism was defeated back then. And it is possible to defeat this evil aggression right now, just looking at Syria, where Assad's regime was thrown out in a couple of weeks.
I totally agree with you, and I actually do not believe in longevity and strength of Putin. And I always remain polite, but let's be realistic. Trump is 78. It's something wrong with this world that, like this 70 plus people want to ruin the planet so much. But I do believe that they are with their attitudes to a great extent in the past. And it's very wrong where we forget about the rule of law and we focus on the law of the strongest. I don't think it's good when the United States start talking about Canada as the 51st state or cause internal conflicts in Denmark discussing Greenland. Some will say these are just comments, but even these comments, they cause a lot of trouble for these countries, a lot of nerves, negative emotions. Why do you do that? And I think that Ukraine has a potential to become a leader of those countries who oppose this law of bullying, law of bullying. And we have skills, we have a character, we have a rare in the modern world quality of courage. And actually, we can do a lot. Once again, I'm sure you remember, and especially right now in February, those very first days after the full-scale invasion, when we literally had no hope. We witnessed all of that war crimes, executions on the streets of Ukrainian cities. And at the same time, every day we were surprised with resilience, strength, creativity, and a love for your country of Ukrainian people. It's real, it works, and it will always stop the evil.
Well, thank you very much for the hope. Yes, and for such comments, it's always a pleasure to have you in our studio. I really hope that we will rebuild our studio and invite you to Kyiv in person again. And we have just to live through these turbulent weeks and months. Let's just joke that Ukraine can become the 51st state after this agreement on rare earth minerals, but God knows.
And I had a different, like a more radical joke. Maybe in a couple of years, we will have to travel to liberate the United States.
Well, let's hope they can figure itself for themselves. They can
That
figure
would
it
be the
for
best, of
themselves.
course.
Yeah, because the land of freedom, it's after all. Well,
It's
thank you
another
again
land
very
of this
much.
modern,
Yeah,
of modern
yeah, of
democracy.
our modern world. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you again. This will be the part of our wrap-up series on YouTube, and thank you again for joining. Have a nice day.
Thank you.